look okay? Lighting all right? I'm not looking at the camera, of course. All right. Time to get serious. Okay. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go now. All right. These earrings were from one of my 3 daughters. They gave them to me when they were in grade school. I can't remember which daughter it was. I don't think they made them, but you know, when your kids are in school at Christmas time, they get to bring you home a little gift. This pair of earrings came from one of my daughters. So I thought, it's snowy outside, I'm going to wear them. And I'm rocking the stones today. All right, let's get situated. Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Tracy and I'm a part-time reseller on the platform Poshmark. Today I have a what sold video for you from December 1st through the 15th. My sales in November were excellent, best that I've ever had in the time I've been reselling, which has been since the middle of 2023, but it's been the best 4th quarter for me so far. I can tell it's starting to slow down a little bit, but I still have quite a few sales. So let's just get into it. I will pop up a picture of what sold over here. And when I tell you what my earnings are, that is minus the platform fees and my cost of goods. So, all right, let's get into it. First thing that I sold, and I think this is the last one, and I've had them in my previous what sold videos, is this 1987 Hallmark Rodney and Friends. This was Rodney plush. I got these out of a free box, so I have no money into them. This one sold for $16 with my earnings being $12.80. Next is a pair of American Eagle Y2K denim shorts. I paid 25 cents for them. They sold for $10, making my earnings $6.80. And another thing I wanted to say that I forgot to say at the beginning, I'm sorry, is I sold a lot of lower dollar amount sales, which I'm happy about. If I get an offer on an item that's been listed since 2023 or 2024, I'm pretty much taking the offers. So there are a lot of $10 bills in here, and some are less than $10. So just be prepared for that. But I'm just being honest on what I earned for this time period. So, all right, next we have this Willow Tree New Life figurine, the mom, dad, and the baby. I picked these up at a garage sale. I had another one that already sold. I paid $4 a piece for them. This one here sold for $17, making my earnings $9.60. Fisher Price Loving Family horse pony lot. I had picked up a huge lot of Loving Family vintage dollhouse toys. And so I got about $1 into these. This one sold for $10 with my earnings being $6.05. Here's a pair of jeans from a ThredUp denim box. These were Hollister low-rise skinny jeans. My average cost was $2.25 for this pair. They sold for $14 with my earnings being $8.80. This I just got in a ThredUp fun box. I really wanted to keep it, but it was too small. But it was new at Tags Loft Sleep Set. It was a leopard print. I'm not sure how much my average cost was in that box because I didn't calculate it. But they sold for $20 with my earnings being $16. Next is a piece I picked up when we were on vacation. It was this Disney Eeyore 3D head plush stocking. I paid $1 for it. It sold for $20 with my earnings being $15. And then we have a denim dress that was unbranded. I paid $1 for it. I just thought the style would sell, and it did. It sold for $15 with my earnings being $11. And then is this pair of vintage nylon U.S. Army windbreaker pants that I paid 25 cents for at a garage sale. They sold for $15 with my earnings being $11.75. And then there's this pair of Nuit Tags Old Navy high-rise skinny jeans. Picked them up at a garage sale for $2 because they were Nuit Tags. They sold for $19 with my earnings being $13.20. And then
I'm gonna come in there and I'm gonna put my foot in your ass if you say and then again.
And then. If you get that joke, you get it. Next is this Lululemon reversible crossover sweater. I paid $2 for it. It was really cool. It was reversible, but it wasn't reversible inside out. It was reversible where you could wear the crossover in the back or the front. It sold for $34 with my earnings being $25.20. Next is a puffer coat by the brand Tumi. I paid $10 for this off of Poshmark. Somebody was having a sale and I bought like 4 or 5 items and my average cost was $10 per piece. But this sold for $50 with my earnings being $30. Next is a set of 12 spun heart-shaped glass Christmas ornaments. I paid $1 for at a garage sale. They sold for $14 with my earnings being $10.05. Jingle Pals, Hallmark Jingle Pals. This is the last one I have. They all sold this season. This was the season's treatings. I believe I got it while I was on vacation as well. I'm not sure. But I paid $2 for this one, and it sold for $20 with my earnings being $14. Here's a pair of Torrid Sky High skinny jeans that I paid $1 for. They sold for $25 with my earnings being $19. Here's a little kitty cat lovey by the brand Carter's. I paid $1 for it. Some loveys sell for more and some sell for less. This one sold for $12 with my earnings being $8.05. Next is this handheld Wheel of Fortune game that I paid 25 cents for. It was from 1998. It had 1 cartridge. It sold for $16 with my earnings being $12.55. These I picked up at a church sale that I go to. They were new in the box. I paid $2 each for them, but they were these 2 boxes of the candle Christmas lights, where all the lights were little candles. These 2 boxes sold for $21 with my earnings being $12.80. Next, a Jellycat. This was Cyril the Sloth. Paid $1 for him. He sold for $23 with my earnings being $17.40. Here is a House of Lloyd set of 3 cat Christmas ornaments that I paid $1 for the 3 of them. They sold for $17 with my earnings being $12.60. Pair of shoes out of a ThredUp Shoe Box. These were Madden Girl. They were Y2K chunky style sandals. Average cost of this pair was $5. They sold for $20 with my earnings being $11. Next is a purse by the brand The Sack. Leather purse. Paid $1 for it. It sold for $23 with my earnings being $17.40. This one here is a coffee mug. It was by Kitty City, I believe. It was this cat mug. I paid $1 for it at a garage sale. Somebody messaged me and wanted to purchase it because they had sold one on Poshmark and busted it and really wanted a replacement to send to their buyer. So they offered me $5 for it. I just said yes, get it gone. But that makes my earnings $1.05. So I hope she's happy and the buyer is happy with their kitty cat mug. Next was a piece I had bought for myself that I never wore. It was new with tags, cable, and gauge striped sweater. It sold for $17 with my earnings being $13.60. Next is a Christopher and Banks floral embroidered cardigan. Very pretty cardigan. I paid $2 for it. It sold for $25, making my earnings $18. I sold my percolator, my Pyrex percolator, and I was so scared to ship this because of the cold weather that I have here in Wisconsin. Thank the Lord it was going to Florida, but it made it. It made it in great condition, I guess, but I was scared. But I paid 75 cents for this at a garage sale this summer. It sold for $76 with my earnings being $60.05. I think that was my best sale. Next is a piece my youngest daughter picked up at a garage sale, I believe, for me. But it was this vintage Polly Pocket boutique play toy from 1999. It was just the boutique. It sold for $20 with my earnings being $16. So thank you, my youngest child. Next is this Saddlebrook purse from the brand Longenberger. I paid $5 for it. It had condition issues. One clasp on the handle needed a new grommet, but it still sold for $38 with my earnings being $25.40. Here's a pair of shoes I got in my last shoe box. I'll link that up above here if you missed that. They were these Rad 1 V2 cross training shoes. My average cost was $6.78 for that pair. They sold for $65 with my earnings being $45.22, and they sold within days. Here's a pair of jeans. They were by the brand Lucky Brand. They were the Lola Straight jeans. They came from a ThredUp box as well. $2.15 I paid for them. They sold for $20 with my earnings being $13.85. This was a vintage Rouge music box that played the Italian anniversary song. I paid $4 for it at a garage sale. It sold for $25 with my earnings being $16. Next is another item from a ThredUp box. It was out of the fun box. It was this Lot of Two Kish and the Shuki character collaboration items. It was a claw hair clip and a satin pillowcase. They sold for $20 with my earnings being $16. Next is a White House Black Market Ivory Shift dress that I paid $2 for. It sold for $45 with my earnings being $34. It took quite a while to sell though. Next is a bundle of some plush. The first one was a Sasquatch plush from the brand Douglas that I paid $1 for. And then a sea turtle from the brand Wild Republic that I also paid $1 for. And those two totaled $38, and the person sent me an offer for $28, which I kindly accepted, and my earnings are $20.40 on them two plush. So I think that's pretty good for stuffed animals. Next is a pair of tall faux suede lace-up boots by Sam Edelman. I paid $4 for these. They sold for $20 with my earnings being $12. Next is something that I just picked up because it was Disney and it was cute, but it was this Mickey Mouse Christmas sweatshirt that I paid 25 cents for. It sold for $9 with my earnings being $5.80. Next is a Lane Bryant animal print button-up shirt. I think I picked this up at the beginning of my reselling journey here because I paid $4 for this, and I probably wouldn't pay $4 for it today. It sold for $15, making my earnings $8. Here is a Michael Kors gold small crossbody purse that I paid $2 for. It sold for $40 with my earnings being $30. Here is a pair of red corduroy skinny pants by the brand Cut from the Cloth. I paid $1 for them. They sold for $14 with my earnings being $10.05. Happy to see some of this stuff go. Next is a cat plush that I paid 25 cents for. It was from the brand Wizarding World of Harry Potter, Crookshank's cat plush. He sold for 12 with my earnings being $8.80. Another plush, and this was just from the brand Walmart branded. It was a Siberian Husky. He was a pretty big plush. I paid 25 cents for him, also in really nice condition. But he sold for 14 with my earnings being $10.80. $10 bills, you guys. Next is a handbag. I just picked this up from the church sale not too long ago. It was Fossil. It was missing its crossbody strap. I paid $2 for it, but I knew it would sell because some people like, you know, the Fossil brand. It sold for 17 with my earnings being $11.60. Here's a pair of little boy or girls Ariat boots. These sat in my death pile for a really long time. And the reason they did is because on the inside fabric, there was a lot of animal hair weaved in. So I vacuumed him out and got out as much of the hair as I possibly could and just noted in the listing that there was hair on the inside still. I paid $1 for them, but they still sold for $29 with my earnings being $22.20. Here's just a basic Columbia PFG short sleeve shirt. I paid $2 for it. It sold for $15, making my earnings $10. Here, I had bought a box that had a bunch of children's books and cassette tapes in it. I sold the book and cassette sets separately, and these all didn't have books in them. I got like 50 cents into these cassette tapes, and they were some Christmas themed ones, so that's why they sold, I believe. But they sold for $12 with my earnings being $8.55 just for these vintage cassette tapes. Here's another thing, just in the bottom of a box of Christmas ornaments that I purchased. But there was this little deer and Santa flocked ornamental picks. Really no money into them, but they sold for $8 with my earnings being $5.05. Here is a band tee from the band Linkin Park. I purchased a band tee mystery box looking for t-shirts for myself and my family, which I found quite a few for myself in it. But my average cost per t-shirt was $4 for these shirts. So this one sold for $15, making my earnings $8 on this t-shirt. Next is something you might recognize from the church sale. It was the vintage velvet cardinal embroidered advent calendar that I paid $2 for. It sold for $24 with my earnings being $17.20. Here's a really cute sweater from Free People. It was a chunky wool blend sweater. It was split in the back, so you had to wear a cami or something underneath it. I paid $2 for that this summer. It sold for $25 with my earnings being $18. Getting tongue-tied here. Next is a pair of black jeans from the brand Torrid. They were the bombshell flare jeans. $2 I paid for them. They sold for $27, making my earnings $19.60. LL Bean red quilted quarter zip. I got this from Goodwill and I paid $2.35 for it. It sold for $18 with my earnings being $12.05. I like picking up LL Bean. It seems to sell for me. A few more. Thanks for sticking with me, guys. Next is this American Eagle crew neck pink sweatshirt. It had the fuzzy lettering on it. I actually picked this up for myself at a garage sale, but didn't like the way it fit. Paid $1 for it. It sold for $16 with my earnings being $11.80. It also had a lot of wash wear to it. Here is a lot of 2 Eddie Bauer short sleeve men's shirts in a larger size. I went to a garage sale and they were just, everything was half off that day. So I lotted these two together, totaling these 2 shirts. I paid $4.50 total for. They sold for $24 with my earnings being $14.70. Another LL Bean item. These I got when we were on vacation from a children's consignment store. They were $2. They were LL Bean chukka boots. They sold for $16 with my earnings being $10.80. Here is a vintage Fisher Price grand piano. It had some staining on the stickers and, discoloration on it. I'm happy it's gone because it was a large item and it takes up room in the closet. Paid $1 for it. It sold for $18 with my earnings being $13.40. Next is another vintage piece from the 70s. These were a pair of unbranded rainbow suspenders that I paid $1 for. They sold for $10 with my earnings being $6.05. Another Disney Eeyore piece, but this was a sweatshirt with snowflakes on it. I paid $1 for it. It sold for $12 with my earnings being $8.05. Some more plush. This was by the brand Douglas. I lotted these two together because they were both Douglas and they were both dragons. I paid 50 cents a piece for these and they sold for $14 with my earnings being $10.05. And my last item to sell in this time period at the beginning of December is this vintage 1990s Ideums wool blend sweater that I paid $1 for. It sold for $20 with my earnings being $15. So that's it, you guys. I just wanted to tell you this. I just got a notification on my phone that I got a rating from somebody. And on Poshmark, you can get rated on your products by stars. And the highest, I believe, is 5 stars. Somebody gave me a 2-star rating because their item, after they got it, they found it for $10 cheaper elsewhere. It was selling for $12 or $10 less elsewhere. So they gave me a 2-star rating. I don't know that that's fair. What do you think? You have to let me know down in the comments. But I don't know. Whatever. All right, guys. Thank you so much for taking some time out of your day and spending it with me today. I really do appreciate it. And if you're not subscribed, maybe you'll think about subscribing. And if you wouldn't mind giving me a thumbs up on the way out, I'd greatly appreciate that. Everybody have a great day. Bye. Catch you on the flip side.